This is Stephen Gregg again, and we are here with You Can Success Summit, second day, and I am excited about all the information you guys have been hearing. I hope you are excited about it as well, because you've heard from some phenomenal speakers already, and we have another one today because I met her years ago. She ran a meetup group, and I used to go to her event at her office, and it was just so powerful, just all the speakers she was involved with and how many people she's helped over the years. And she said one sentence to me, or maybe not, didn't say it to me, but she said it to the crowd, is that she spoke over 500 times and created 500 speaking gigs. And I was like, man, that's a lot of speaking. And I wanted to be able to speak that much, but I was thinking, how in the heck does she do that? And come to find out, that's her business. She teaches people how to get speaking gigs, and she teaches people how to grab their voice and get it out to the world. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So please help me welcome Miss Leisa Reid. Hey, Leisa, how's it going?
Hey, thank you for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here too, because there's so many people out there right now that we're talking to that are in different walks of life that have all kinds of issues going on, or there's some people right now that are doing well in life and just have a message. They have a message that they want to get out to the world, and I know you have the ability to do that. So I wanted them to meet you. I wanted them to get to know you and find out more about what you do and your walk and how you even got where you are. So maybe that's where we can start. Maybe I just want to ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you even get into the speaking world and as well?
Oh, yeah, great question. And, I think I was always meant to be a speaker. And usually when I talk to speakers, that's typically what I'll hear from other people. But sometimes our message gets bigger than our fear. And maybe we don't want to be a speaker, but we have to share it. For me, I just naturally enjoyed being in like that teacher role and being at the front of the classroom, but in a way where like, I don't want to just speak on anything. I always really want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. And my first public speaking gig, it wasn't paid, but that's okay, was when I was 13 years old, and I was assigned to give a speech in front of the entire junior high about seatbelt safety. And I had my partner, like, the other, I think we were like VP and president of the student council. And so we had to give this speech to hundreds of kids. And I remember actually just wrote about this because it occurred to me that I actually had a speaking coach, but I didn't realize it at the time. So I grew up with my dad being a hypnotherapist, and he would do a lot of speaking and open houses and sales training, all that stuff. And so he helped us craft our talk, and like we made it funny, and it was really cool to have someone else help me through the process, because what we had come up with originally just on our own wasn't that exciting. So I just remember, wow, that looking back on how valuable the experience was. We were very official. We met in a library in the office, and it was really fun. So that's how it sparked. And then I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in speech communication, so it kept following me, and I would always train no matter what job I had. And then eventually I got hired at Productive Learning to be a speaker for them and speak about what I really loved, which was mindset and helping people understand how to uncover the thinking that they have that's not working and how do they shift that. And that's what then led to the 500 speaking engagements. So.
Well, so let me ask you this. Was it always easy? Was it just natural for you, or did you have to go through some challenge to get to where you are now?
Both. It's natural in the sense that I really enjoy it. And usually people that I work with, they love speaking. They usually are saying, I have a dream. I see the person up on stage. And that's probably how you had that too, Stephen, where you're just like, there's something inside you that just like, oh, I really want to get out there. And so there's that. And I always had that too. But then, yes, there's lots of things that I still learned, and I got a speaking coach, even with the degrees and the teaching experience and the training experience, I still got a coach and had lots of support through the team at Productive Learning as well. Like I would, I'd go do a gig and then, get nothing, like leave with nothing, and so sad. But I had a team of people to go like, okay, here's what happened. Here's what the room was like. This is what I said. Here's, let's videotape. Let's see this. So tons of feedback and constantly growing, even now as we're going from live in-person talks to all virtual talks? Is it different? How do I engage the audience differently, get used to the technology? So always learning, always learning.
Yeah, nowadays it's definitely changed a lot, because you and I, we're used to networking. We're used to meeting belly to belly, face to face, meeting people, and now we can't do that quite like we used to. And so we have to kind of create that same type of environment online.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I want to address, that I noticed with you that's different than most of us. Most of the people that have been on here have gone through a struggle. They've gone through, it was really hard for them. Maybe they spoke because they needed to, or they were fearful at first and they were shy, insecure, and then they grew and they learned how to do it.
Sure.
You didn't have that situation. It sounded like you.
Well, it's not that I've never had struggles. I always like speaking.
I get it. That's what I mean, because I didn't. That's what I'm saying. You like speaking, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is because there's a lot of people out here that don't struggle right now. That maybe you're not in a bad situation. Maybe you're not struggling. You just want to get your message out. You just want to be heard, and you believe that you have a message that the world needs to hear. Mm-hmm. And so you can help bring that out for them. Is that what you do?
Yeah, usually that'll be like the common thing that I'll hear from people. I typically work with really heart-centered people, and they have this, like, they know that maybe they work with people one-on-one or they talk with people one-on-one, but they realize, wow, I could help a lot more people if I were speaking on a bigger platform, whether that's, a Facebook Live or a live audience with, hundreds or thousands of people. And so they're starting to scale up who they can serve. And that's really like my guiding principle, like kind of where my mission comes from, is that we're all connected. All of us, all humans are connected. And the more that we can tap into our gifts, like, what's my gift? My gift is to help speakers get their gift out there, whatever their service offering, that's what they're put on the world here in the world to help people with something else. So it's like a way for all of us to help elevate ourselves as a human race, to be honest. I mean, that's like the bigger picture, right?
Sure. So let me ask you this: with what you do for people, do you help craft their speech, or if they already have a message, you just help them learn how to say it? Do you help them with the delivery, or do you have them craft it, or a combination of both?
Both, and each speaker's journey is a little bit different. So we start with what you have, and then if we need to work on craft, I call it get your talk ready to rock. And I start with that. And even if someone already has a talk, I say, that's okay, we can create another one, or let's take that one and jazz it up a little bit. Usually what I end up working on in that sense is they have a talk, but they maybe haven't done it that much, or they haven't had consistent results. So I come in and I look at it from another angle of, like, what's your call to action? Where's the thread that's being pulled throughout, so that you can leave with the results that you want to leave with. And this is kind of whether you're virtual or in person. The metaphor is like you're driving away, you're in your car, everyone's, you back up, you're at the speaking event, and everyone's like, oh, you're so wonderful. That was so great. I loved your message. It was so awesome. You're such a good speaker, whatever. You get all these accolades, right? And then you get in your car and you leave. Okay, so that wears off. Like, it's like all that little prompt up starts to fizzle out. So you look in your bag and you're like, well, what do I have now? Do I have clients? Do I have appointments? Do I have sales? Did you leave with anything? And that's usually the moment of truth right there. So that's where we start. And we're like, okay, what do we need to do to where you're driving away or clicking off your computer and you've left with something that, shows that you're going to be able to help people, and that's in appointments or sales, things like that.
So not only do you teach them what to say and how to say it, you help them make a profit from it. Sounds like.
Yeah, it's like monetizing your talk and how do you attract clients. And sometimes it's little things, like even as like, what's the form that you're going to give them, or what's the link that you're going to tell them to go to. But then we also, one of the things I always say is, like, you don't want to just get booked once. You want to get booked and stay booked. So I'll teach people how to have what I call roll out the red carpet introduction, so that you are pursued rather than chasing, and that you have an easier time booking instead of cold calling, because there's tons of opportunities out there. Like, if you want to speak, like if you're out there and you're like, I just want to speak like once or twice a month, And that's typical. Like most people are like, gosh, I just would love to have like 2 gigs a month. I'm like, that's like shooting fish in a barrel, Stephen. Like you should be able to get that, no problem. But if you're not ready mentally or physically, like you don't actually have your talk ready and you have no sales experience and you don't know what a funnel is and you don't know what a pipeline or prospecting or any of that is, it's going to be tough. So we do that whole thing too. So it's like, how do you get all those skills so that you're ready to go?
Yeah, gotcha. So you help put all that type of stuff together, their whole package, so that they're bottled and ready to go. So then they can go out and start getting those speeches. Now, you mentioned 500. That's a lot of speak. That's a lot of talking. So I'm sure most people don't want to speak 500 times. Now that wasn't only 1 year, now was it?
No, not in 1 year. That would be too many. But like, for example, my first year, this is sort of to give some people some hope here. My first year as a professional speaker, I spoke 83 times. I booked all those presentations in my very first year, didn't know what I was doing, okay? So that's when people started saying, what are you doing? How are you doing this? I don't know. What, are you bribing people? I'm like, no. So that's when I started to back it out and go, okay, what are the things that I'm actually doing to get those kind of results? And that's why when I say you could do 12 to 24 a year, easily, because I've done quadruple that without knowing what I was doing. So I know that I can help people get that. And when you've never done it before, it's like, it feels like impossible, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. Especially if you have a compelling message that really serves people.
Yes. Yeah. It's not a like hammer people with, sale. It's how do you serve and give them just enough to where they're like, that's kind of tasty. I like that. Where can I get some more? And you're attracting people who you really want to work with and who really resonate with you. There's someone for everybody, right? We're not going to resonate with every single person.
That's right.
But you got to find the people that you like.
That's awesome. And that's right. Everybody is not for everyone. That's why we're doing the summit, because everyone has a different personality. Everyone has a different character. And some of you do some similar things. A couple of you do, but bottom line is they need to resonate with who they resonate with, and they're going to be the same thing when they go speak. They're not going to, one person's not going to hit the whole room and get 100% participation. Doesn't work that way. Awesome, fantastic. Let me ask you a couple questions about maybe some success stories. Maybe someone that you've worked with that didn't have any belief or confidence in themselves, and maybe they didn't know how to speak and they had nothing. Let's talk about that person, because right now there are some people that worked a job for 10 years, 20 years. Now they find themselves out of work. They have no message. They've never been in sales before. They have no skills on how to do this, but they have something in their heart they want to get out.
Yeah.
And they believe that speaking could be a way to do it. So maybe tell us a success story about someone like that.
Yeah, I had one gal who, similar to what you were talking about, she has a coaching business and mastermind program. And she is someone, if you met her, you think she's super confident, but behind the scenes, there were some fears going on. And that's usually where we start getting into the juicy work is, okay, how do we take what people see on the outside and match what's on the inside so that you can get out there and really deliver the power that you have? And so we worked on, she would get real scattered. And so we worked on a talk together that matched her personality, matched her message, led people to where she needed to go, and in a way that was deliverable for her. So she wasn't all over the place and she was able to meet the time requirements. And she actually is really good with people. She's really good with sales. So that wasn't her issue necessarily, but getting it all organized and together and deciding, like putting your stake in the ground, that was her issue. So once we had that, she was like international speaker, booked, radio shows, podcasts, live events, hosted her own event, had 100 people there, signed people up for a mastermind. They registered thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? So it doesn't take a miracle. It just takes, okay, I'm ready. You're like, I'm going to do this. Right. And know that you can get the support to do that. So that was one example.
So in other words, it doesn't take a miracle. It doesn't even have to take experience. What it takes is a desire, someone that really wants to do it.
Yeah.
Is that who you look for more than anything?
Yeah, and they usually look for me. Yeah, I'm not in the arm twisting business, Stephen. You know what I mean? I'm like, if you're ready, I do have faith that we'll find each other, and it's kind of magical how that happens. Sometimes it's people that I've known for years. Right now, I'm working with someone who I've met years ago. I was a speaker, and she was in the audience, and we kept in touch. And she's had that dream to be a speaker for that long, since I met her many years ago. But she had a job transition, and she thought, due to COVID, and she thought, okay, I think this is it. Like, if I was waiting for a sign, like, here it is.
Now
And
it's
we're now
time.
yeah. And same thing. She's so gifted, so intelligent, and incredibly powerful. But again, sometimes those little gremlins inside keep us from. And that's what we're working on, is like, how do we get her to make some decisions about her business and really put her stake in the ground? So powerful to make that move.
Yeah, yeah. What about yours? What about one of your wins? What's a big win for you that you've had, by speaking? Because a lot of people don't realize the not only just the recognition, but I'm talking about the exposure you get, the fun you have, the travel you do. Tell us a little bit about what you've done through speaking.
I think it's, on the social side, certainly there's times where I've made friends with people in the audience that I didn't know before, and got to meet so many people. One of the successes I've had recently, actually, I wrote my book, and I got it written and published within 2 weeks. That was a pretty big success. That was at the end of last year, and I wasn't expecting to get that done. And because I had written all this content, it kind of magically appeared. It was pretty cool. In terms of success for speaking, I have spoken at big and small and near and far. And I have to say, having the faith that the right people are in that room has always served me. And just like, someone's here to hear my message. And I talk about this example. And this is when I did a talk for productive learning, which is most of my talks are for productive learning. And I was invited to speak to a group of top performers in a direct sales company. And it was at somebody's house, and I got the directions, no problem. And I knew her. So it wasn't like, I had met her. And as I got to the place, it was a trailer park. I'm like, okay, well, that's different. And this stands out to me because I'll share with you in a second. There was like 8 people there, okay, great. Let's do this thing, right? And nearly everybody became a client. And one of the attendees is still a client, and spent thousands of dollars, and has made massive life changes in her life, right? So I just say, never judge. You just never know. Because that same week, I spoke at a very fancy country club area, or private club in Newport Beach, and it was like crickets. I just remember the contrast, because that week was just particularly interesting. I was like, so you just never know who you're supposed to meet and why and where. And I just come with an open heart. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's a great point. I would have not even thought of that. You want to take every opportunity to speak. If someone has 2 people to speak to, you don't know who those 2 people are. That one person could introduce you to a company. Next thing you know, it turns into thousands of dollars. And so that's a very important point that you just made, is that don't prejudge. If someone gives you the opportunity to speak, go flap your jaws and speak.
Yeah, as long as it's for the right, it's your ideal clients. So sometimes people will come to me and they're like, oh, I want to speak on this stage and this stage. And I want to be, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, speaking, it seems glamorous, but there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens. And there's all the things that happen besides you being on stage. To sustain it, it takes courage to be vulnerable. It takes guts, and it takes persistence. Like, anyway, so it's really fun though.
Yes, it is. I love speaking. I remember I used to be super shy, insecure, and no skill set or anything. And once I got on stage and I started to speak, I realized that's where I shine the most. That's where I love to be. If I could do anything all day, every day, I'd be on stage somewhere speaking and share my story. So
I think a lot of speakers feel like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. let's say this Corona hit and you lost everything. Let's say you had to start all over again. You had no money, you had no support, so you had no, your business, your company wasn't there. You had nobody to help you. You just had your brain, you had your skill set that you have. What would you do to get back on top right now in the next 30 days to put money in the bank so you can get going again? What would you do?
Yeah, I saw that question, and it's ironic. I've been in a situation similar, not to that extreme, because I've always had support from loved ones and such. But I've been in a situation where we lost everything for the most part. My ex-husband and I, in 2008-9, it was a really tough year, and we, went from up here to down here, and we sold business. Lost money in real estate, all these things. So it was really dicey and a life-changing moment for both of us. And we also got a divorce in that time too. So it was really like a low time in my life. And this was 2009. So I actually, for real, we were like probably $1 million in debt when it's all said and done with, you're talking real estate properties and things like that. And I was financially in the black within 2 years. And so I just handled each moment, each thing as it came. Like, okay, I'm going to tackle this. Like, let me start with the ones I can handle. Maybe it was a credit card situation or whatever from our business. And I handled that one. And then I handled that one. Then I handled that one. Then we had sold our business. I don't know, you're getting the whole long story. But anyway, I just started chipping away at everything, handled it all. And I did start working for a company again at that time. Now, and it was all worked out. But now that I have this company and this job, what I always say about education is nobody can take that away from you. Like, as long as this is working, I'm going to be okay. Right. Yeah. Because that doesn't go away. You could take away all the property, the physical, tangible stuff, and that skill that I have does not go away. So I would probably get a phone somehow. I would look at, well, you said step by step. This is like super dire. Obviously, I'd figure out what social services are available for housing and food, right? Okay. Housing, food, and phone, so that I could have a business.
Okay, so let's say you had housing, food, and phone. You had that part down. You were okay there.
Then I would probably do like Facebook Lives every day to generate clients for my coaching business. Or I'd call people that I knew. Or if I didn't know anyone, I would call people that I didn't know. I would say, like, I would start searching and scouring. So that's the great thing about having sales experience. I can find opportunities under rocks like nobody's business. So I would use that skill to find clients and customers.
Well, that's another big and powerful thing you just said is sales skills. Mm-hmm. Sales is a skill. And it's funny because I talk to a lot of people that are in direct sales or own their own business like yourself and other people. And this COVID situation didn't really affect their business in a downturn because more people need help and we're in the business of helping people. Yeah. So if more people need help, then we are in that business. And so we're kind of almost recession proof. It didn't really affect our business. So we already were working from home. We're already working online. We already didn't have a job to fire us. We're already self-employed, right? Sure. So yep. Now there's all these people that thought they had job security, realizing that it was job insecurity, and having a skill like sales and speaking and how to communicate your message and how to whip a product out of the thin air and go make some things happen, find opportunities under a rock, like you said. That's the real skill. Yeah. That's the real value. Yeah. And I think if anything, one thing that I've certainly taken from this, where there's actually no certainty about anything. So where we talk about like times of uncertainty and all this change, it's always uncertain and it always has been uncertain. We just were in this myth of certainty, right? So now it's like, oh, wow, nothing is certain. Okay, well, what do I want to do? What dreams do I want to fulfill? What skills do I want to develop so that I can, empower myself to decide what I want to do? Yeah. Keywords, empower yourself. not waiting for someone else to do it, not waiting for the right timing, perfect time. You empower yourself. So
Absolutely.
that's good. So let's ask this. Let's say you have somebody and you're going to give them 3 tips, 3 specific things they can do so they can win big the rest of this year. What would be 3 major things you would recommend?
Well, one of the things that I teach is, and we'll, I would imagine that the people listening on this summit would like to generate some more money. We'll just say that that's an assumption that most entrepreneurs are looking.
That's a great assumption, 100%.
And so one of the things that I talk about in my book and one of the modules I have is monetizing your speaking. I talk a lot about monetizing your speaking. So if we were going to say just monetizing your business, right? One of the things I like to say is we're going to mix magic and strategy. So how you start with your magic is you actually create a vision for what that looks like. How is money going to come into your business? And I mean, like, how do you see it, hear it, touch it? Like, how do you know it's coming in? What do you hear people say? What do you hear yourself say? So it's a little bit of vision and intention. And really getting clear on that. And then we move to strategy. Like if you don't have those things set up in your business, then get them set up. Like if you don't have a business checking account or a way to take PayPal payments or Venmo or QuickBooks or whatever shopping cart you need, like get it taken care of. Sometimes it's the simple things that we don't, keep us stuck. So that's the second thing is like you actually create a plan. And then the other thing that I think entrepreneurs have a tough time with in terms of monetization is having a menu. So I call it the monetization menu. What are your products? Like if you're an entrepreneur, basically you have a store, right? Even if it's virtual, you have a store. People want to know, well, what can they buy? What do you have? And sometimes I hear people kind of panicking because someone asked them, well, what are the services that you have? And they're like, oh my gosh, they want this, they want that. And they're not clear. So you got to get clear on what services you're offering so that you're ready when someone says, how can I buy your XYZ? How can I buy your product? So it's like magic, strategy, and then get that store in place.
Yeah, it's kind of like going to a junkyard. You got to kind of cipher through stuff versus going to a nice organized shopping mall, Nordstrom's, where it's right there. The price is high. And that's why people will be willing to pay more because it's nice, it's orderly, and there's a perceived value. Yeah. That same shirt in Ross Dress for Less could be the same shirt, but they'll pay 1/10 the price just because of perceived value. So that's what you mean by making your store, packaging it correctly, so the perceived value is up there and people will be willing to pay for it.
Yeah, and I think we could do some things that sometimes create anxiety, and specifically, when I work with speakers and they have a speaking engagement, they're so excited. I'm like, well, what are you going to offer? And they go, oh, I don't know, and they're making something up the day before, or the night before. Oh my gosh, no, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. It's got to all match together, right? And it doesn't take a long time, but we got to make some decisions. And that's another thing, or like help you make a decision and go for it. It can always change. You just have to decide something.
Yeah, that's called speaking with intent, right? Not speaking just for the heck of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, gotcha.
You got it.
I've seen that happen before. Someone speaks and they have zero close at the end. It's like, okay, so can I buy something from you? What you got going on? I mean, there's no intent at the end of the message. That's called they need help.
Yeah,
that's called call Leisa.
Yes, yeah, and I've seen that too, where they'll say like, oh my, so this will usually, like, I'll do a speaker strategy session with someone. I'm like, okay, so what's your, how do you get the sale, or how are you going to convert the talk? And they'll say, well, I usually just say, my business cards are over there at that table and I'll be over there. And I'm like, no, you cannot say that.
you put an X with
all the love in my heart. With all the love in my heart. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, you slap them and kiss them simultaneously. I get it. I understand. Sometimes you have to do that, right?
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that need to learn speaking, and they just don't realize what value they have in their own heart, in their own mind.
Yeah.
They already
Yeah.
have a skill set. They just don't. They just got to find the need for the skill set.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I often say people aren't born out of the womb knowing how to speak or sell from stage, right? Like it's not something you inherently know. It isn't. Now, some people are a little more gifted than others, but you learn it. I mean, I learned how to sell from stage, even with a master's degree in speech communication. They did not teach me that. Okay.
Right.
So it is a skill and it takes practice. Just like anything, if you got on the bike for the first time, you wouldn't know how to ride the bike. You'd probably wobble a little bit, maybe fall, or what, you'd be a little scared, right? So then you get on again, and you can do it. But sometimes people have a low tolerance for that learning curve.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. I teach a whole technique on the 4 levels of learning and how that actually works in detail. So it's important because people don't understand how their brain works. And, in this training, I'll probably be going through that at some point in here.
Oh, good.
but it's so important because that's what stops people from going out and speaking. That's what stops people from starting their own business is fear.
Yeah.
And fear and faith cannot be in the same space.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, okay, what are we doing this for? Usually speakers are coming to me because they want to share their message. And then they want to give so much that then the audience feels a little overfed, and they go back to what you were saying before of they forget to offer something. They forget to say, well, here's how you can work with me, or I'm going to share with you a couple of ways, or invite them into something.
Yeah.
And it's because of fear. Because they don't want
fear of the rejection, fear of the person saying no. But also, you said they forget. I don't know if they necessarily forget. I think they just don't know how. So they never learned it sometimes.
Our subconscious mind makes you forget. It makes you talk longer and run out of time, and all of a sudden you sit down and you realize you forgot to give your offer. That's your subconscious mind is saying, we're not comfortable with this. We're not going to do that because that would be a bad idea. We'd rather just feel safe and not offer or sell, right? Because we have judgments about that. So that's where we need to do the work ahead of time, so you have a plan that you're really, really comfortable with. So that's where I get like really in tune with people, because I don't want them to sell something in a way that is going to make them feel uncomfortable, because then they'll forget to do it and they won't do it. So it's also important to like find a way that you feel really good about that thing that you're offering and how you're going to offer it. So that's different for everybody. So we work on that.
That's good. That's good. Well, just everybody listening to this, if you resonate with Leisa and you feel that, or she resonates with you, and
you never know.
both ways, right? If you feel that you want to learn how to speak, you want to get your speaking out there, you have a message, and you feel that it needs to get out to the world, I would definitely recommend to go to our website, and all her name, her website, everything is there, so that you can contact her, because that's what we want. We want you guys to all build a relationship. This whole summit is designed to help everyone grow. This is not the Steven show. I just happen to be the host of the show, but this show is for everyone here, so that everyone can win. That's how it is. Everyone achieves more. That's what a team is, right? Together, everyone achieves more.
That's right.
Old saying. And that's what we are. We're a team of entrepreneurs, all with the same purpose, all trying to help better the people that are having challenges or that need a direction, or that maybe lack hope right now, and also help each other and grow as a community. So that's what this is all about. So I appreciate you, Leisa, for definitely being here today. Any last parting words you'd like to share?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for inviting me into the summit today. If you're out there listening and you've been dreaming about being a speaker, and it's over a year now that you've been dreaming about it, just call me. Let's talk. Let's figure out how we can get your dream to a reality. That's really important to me. And I know that you probably have something important to share if you have been dreaming about it for more than a year, that's a sign that it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely go to the website. All her information is there. And then she'll show you everything she does. She may give you a free hour or something. I don't know what she does, but bottom line is she will give you something that's going to be beneficial for you, which is most important. And if there's a great fit, then you guys can do some things together. If it's not a good fit, hey, you got some great time. You met a great woman. So definitely, Leisa, thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Have a good night, everybody, or good
All right,
day,
we'll talk
whatever time of
soon.
day you're listening to this.
Okay.